scholars are saying that in the Bible, the Bible contains over 2,000 prophecies that have come and it's still passed.
Yes.
In contrast to the Quran, what can you tell us about them?
The Quran has 0 prophecies. Okay, so his question is like, if we're taking a neutral position, the Bible has, all these prophecies, right? Hundreds of prophecies that have been fulfilled. If we're looking at the Quran with an open mind, what can we find in the Quran? 0. Nada. Nothing. What we can find are false prophecies. We can find false prophecies in the Quran. The Quran says, for example, that the Romans will overcome and be victorious over the Persians within a span of 3 to 9 years. But unfortunately, that didn't happen until 14 years later, 13 to 14 years. So we got a false prophecy. Matter of fact, one of the nicknames of Allah is the God of maybe. The God of maybe and ums, because he says maybe this and maybe this. He doesn't even give like a time frame. He's like, the time frame he gives, like it's ambiguous. Like it's 3 to 9. Which one is it? Why don't you pick the year when it happens? As opposed to Yahweh, for example, in Isaiah, I forget the chapter. I think it's chapter 28, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. But talking about the Arabians and Kedar, where he talks about how he's going to give his judgment on Kedar, he says, in 1 year from now, in the year of a worker's time, I'm going to come and give judgment on the Kedarites. They're going to be wiped out, basically, right? And it does it. It happens with the Assyrians a year later, historically. So God in the Bible he's not afraid to give timeline. In book of Daniel, the book of Daniel gives us a timeline of when the Messiah is going to come in the 1st century. So, yeah.